about every single day.
Yeah, we always kind of get like a sign because what happens is for some reason or another we'll stay up past midnight,
Hmm.
like on big days. And we were watching this series on Netflix last night. It's called Behind Her Eyes,
Mm.
and it's a 6-part limited series, and it has astral travel in it and bilocation, and it's pretty trippy. But we were both really tired, but you know, we ended up staying up till 3 o'clock watching it. We were probably ready to go to bed at midnight, and then she started channeling when we laid down, and it was just in that moment I realized what a powerful day. Um, what a powerful day today must be. And then I woke up this morning and I was just like sitting on the couch, thinking, am I going to start crying? What's going on?
Mm.
Yeah. I don't see, let me see if we're on. Hang on. It looks like there's some people in the house. Oh, here we come. Hi, Terry. Can y'all see, can anybody see, Daniela? Let me see. I'm going to ask him. Can y'all see Daniela? Danielle. It's the Spanish in me. Daniela. Let's see. Can y'all see Danielle? God, this is weird. Oh no, they can't see you. Okay. Well, we're going to just kind of improvise a little bit. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put up your beautiful picture rather than have to look at myself. I can't do
Aw.
that. There we go. So, yeah, this is interesting because this has never happened before, where I can see her on the screen on the little monitor, but we can't see her face. Well, now we can because I got the picture up. But her lips won't be moving. I can just stick my head in there.
That's funny.
But yeah, we haven't talked in quite a while. It's good to see you.
You too.
And I caught one of your posts because I only remember things like in the moment. And I caught one of your posts about 10 days ago. I don't remember what it was talking about specifically, but it was very much um, an expression of things happening through your own experience. It was pretty powerful. I remember that because I don't usually read things, very often. And it caught my attention. And then I was like, whoa, she's feeling it. So I would imagine your 2021 has been smooth as butter, right?
Oh my goodness. This past year in general, the 2020 through 2021 has been, I guess, my dark night of the soul for sure.
Really?
Oh, yeah. To some, like everything in my life is completely changing or changed. I'm in a very neutral, like, space right now. I don't want to say limbo because I'm definitely coming out the other side of it, but
Yeah.
it's been definitely on the move, on the go, shifting and changing.
It's
Mhm.
it's. I think it's from what I've felt and what I've seen other people, it's more like a hibernation.
Yes.
It's been like a hibernation or an incubation or something. Actually, hibernation feels more accurate to me because incubation um, feels more like you're going to be birthed. Not that we're
Mhm.
not going to be birthed, but the hibernation feels like I was living before it happened, and then I went into the cave, and
Yes.
everybody ate a bunch of food for the winter. But yeah, energetically, I'm all over the place right now. By the way, I just want to let you
Yeah.
know
Um,
that.
I feel you on that. I've definitely the hibernation thing. I mean, even it's funny, I'm from upstate New York where you totally hibernate in the winter, but I came down here, you know, at the end of January where it's like 70 or 80 every day, but I've been completely alone for 35 days. Um,
Really?
and I love the beach and I haven't even gone in like 3 weeks. I just been totally alone, even getting groceries delivered. So with the
Wow.
the hibernation definitely is resonating.
Wow.
Yep.
And there's no better space, I mean, interacting with your partner or people or is really cool, but there just seems to be no better space than solitude.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And you can find solitude like in 5 minutes or, 10 minutes or whatever, but 35 days. You had to have gone through some massive transformations in 35 days, I would think.
Oh, I spent the whole February literally crying just about every day. And then it was weird. I kept seeing, I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but I kept seeing, like there was going to be this like wall of energy, and it was just this beautiful wall that was like March was like I saw it as like a very distinct line of energy. And it really did start to shift like March 1st for me, kind of like a turning point, um, back
Yeah.
into, or I'm not back into, but just like, even though I'm still in this hibernation, it feels like it's starting to move forward in a different type of way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Several people have mentioned that I saw mention March 1st. We felt it because it was a Monday,
Yeah.
so there was something about that, new beginning. But man, and the third a couple days ago felt pretty strong. And then, of course, this morning has just been ridiculous. I mean, I'm sitting there listening to Judith Kuzel. We were having the show, and I swear for 2 sentences, she started talking light language. And I'm like, what? Because things like that happen to me. And I was certain that nobody else saw it or heard it. And then I had to tell her about it. She goes, yes, I did. I'm like, well, it was weird, though, because I could actually hear the human words and the light language at the same time. Like she had two voices.
Oh, nice.
Crazy. Yeah.
I caught some of that show. That was good.
Yeah. She's
Mhm.
always good. She's always really good. Yeah. One of the things about you, too, is that I just know, Morgan doesn't talk to me about her sessions and stuff like that, but I pick up on things here and there. Plus, I know you because we've done a few shows together. And but one thing about you that I really admire is you've moved through, like, since I met you.
Yeah.
Because when I met you, you were still in your partnership,
Yeah.
right? That you had been in for quite some time, and you had actually spoken about it on that first show in a very powerful way, very very expansive way. And I guess what I'm getting at is that since that time, which is the time I've known you, you've moved through so much stuff. So I can see you crying almost every day for 35 days. You're like here to make it happen, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Actually, that first show when me and you met, that like I knew, like as soon as COVID hit, I was like, this is why I'm here. Like when the shutdown happened,
Yeah.
I didn't quite know what that exactly meant or what it was going to turn out to be. Um, but like connecting with you and Morgan, it was like all part of that big shift for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like, I mean, have you had like like this 35 days and even this 2020 and 2021, have
Yes.
you had a lot of the Cali energy visiting you, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like I love you, but I'm not taking any bullshit. We're here to clean house.
Yes. That's pretty much just when I said to you, like, I've moved so many times, that was really it. It was like every time it was like moving me completely out of where I was and getting me ready for where I need to be. And it was like almost like I was just jumping, leapfrogging timelines. And each time I was in a different space, it was like I was clearing old programmings, letting go of old things, ways of being, just left and right, every which way, until I got to the point where I'm literally like in my car with what I can fit in there. And that's about it.
That's crazy. And doing it by yourself, you know, and
Mhm.
and cutting ties and making the best choices for yourself. I mean, you're doing it in, like especially these last 35 days in solitude.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that are, you know, I guess, more entrenched into, like I've got a friend who's very awake and, she's got a couple of kids and a husband and a business. And I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. Like,
Yeah.
I do not know how you do it. I think she told me she spends like Sunday, in her room just watching Netflix, just processing because you've got to have that time. But you're on the other end of it. That's all you've been doing. You're even ordering your groceries to be delivered.
I did go to the grocery store this morning, but some days I'm like, I'm not going outside of this fence right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you like, do you have like a little inner circle, or have you literally just checked out all the way around pretty much?
I do have, some friends that I'm staying in touch with back home. Definitely feeling, um, not sure where, but I'm definitely feeling called. Even just this week, I'm like, I just need to start connecting with people again, or finding out what the next steps are, because I've been alone a lot and I'm okay with that, but I'm definitely um, feeling like it's time to start getting ready to come back out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's time to come out and play.
Next. Yes.
Sedona, May 28th, 29th, and 30th, the first Soulogy Fest. You got to come to that.
Yes, I was talking to Morgan about that. I would love to.
You got to come to that. Yeah. I got a vision of it last night because I was in my mind and a little bit, I was in my mind going, okay, we got to get to work. We got our first meeting Sunday, and I'm like, and so then I just kind of turned it off, because I knew, oh, that's the old energy. You can't do that. And then all of a sudden I got this vision, and it was like, it looked like almost like a druid, or, like just picture a bunch of humans with cloaks on around a bonfire.
Hmm.
And I don't know, the energy and the messages that came out of it were just profound. And the big message was just shut up and get out of the way, kind of thing.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
interesting, because this morning I had some messages coming in and I was thinking about, our talk, and I saw like just legions of like angels. Like, I mean, but it felt like, to me, how it felt was that it was actually like the humans that are waking up.
Yeah.
um, if that makes any sense, and like just getting ready. I don't know. It felt like that's what we're getting ready for, right? To be there
Yeah.
and lead that.
That's a good way to put it. Like, because this stuff's been going on, for so long, and so long could be 2 years, because I've met people doing the show that woke up 2 years ago that just like profound, like, wow. I mean, they're channeling light language, they write the light language out and all those different types of stuff. I don't even know how they do it, but yeah, I mean, it's like we've been sitting around all dressed up with nowhere to go.
Right.
I think the event, I hate to use that word, but the coronation or the coming out,
Mhm.
it's what we're feeling.
Yeah. I know, I'm excited about, how everyone's, or you're hearing a lot, we're hearing a lot, feeling a lot, that just everything can shift so quickly, even for maybe people who aren't as aware, or, like you said, in the circles that we are doing the things that we are aware of. That part I get very excited about, thinking about how that can just shift things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You kind of see it too. I know in the part of the channel she brought in last night was talking about the light worker community, and how the light worker community, I don't want to say, and she didn't say this, had to go first, but that the division and separation and polarization and projection that we've seen come and go, which really seemed to get intense after this election and more COVID and all that.
Mhm.
Um, how if I as I was listening to her last night and feeling into it, I was seeing, wow, this is what happens before you expand, right? So to me, it's I'm looking at it now going, oh, that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing, because it's kind of like the storm before the calm, right?
Right. Right, and I think that's one of the things I wrote about, was how I kind of felt like what I've been going through is like a microcosm of what's
Yeah,
happening on the larger scale,
yeah,
and that's why I just been rolling with it, because I mean, I would anyway, but it feels like that's been part of my role, is to like walk through that and um, just experience that space, if that, yeah,
yeah,
and going through it with the collective. I mean, we all are in our own way. It's just been really interesting to experience it
yeah.
in this way.
Well, and you're doing it too, though, like what I was referring to earlier, because I don't know details, but I know enough about your energy and your journey from picking up this or picking up that or doing a show with you, and you were just talking about how transformation can come instantaneously,
Hmm.
and I think one of the misconceptions, that's why I struggle with the word like the event or whatever. One of the misconceptions has been you transform and then your work is done. But it's like transformation in multiplicity, right? It's just like one after the other. But there does seem to be like I don't want to say a cooling off period, but a stabilizing or a balancing or a comfortableness with that, because that's a lot on the human.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel, I've been like on this path like 16, 17 years, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're like plugging along, right? And you're growing, and like, yeah, you just reach certain points, right? Like the first time I talked to you, I had reached a point where I was definitely um like comfortable in my space, so to speak, comfortable and safe, right?
Yeah.
And felt like I could navigate that well. And then, but I had also like, I was outgrowing it big time. You know what I mean? So it to me, like when I popped out, it was like so much expanded and so much happened. That's, I'm just seeing like a balloon that you let go and then it like flies all over the place.
Yeah. Well, that's because you went balls out, man.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It
You
was,
actually did, because I interviewed you the first time, and then all that, you made some choices, and then I talked to you like 2 3 months later, and then it just continued because I talked to you again when I was in Florida.
yeah.
And by the way, I just want to say, I don't know if it's something in the water down there, but I was the same way. I was going to the beach, and of course it got a little bit cooler, and I'd still go from time to time, but there was a period both of us, we didn't leave. I bet it was 3 or 4 weeks, unless it was walk up to the grocery store. But yeah, and the beach is right there, like 10 houses away, and you don't even go, because there was so much. Like this time last year, there was this same energy was abounding,
Mhm.
not, but not as to this level, but again with the solitude.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really surprised, but I'm definitely just following what feels right. Um, it seems like, yeah, what else is there to do, right? Be in the moment, focus on what's in front of you, and
Yeah, because it will be presented to you. There's no doubt about that.
yep.
And so, are you feeling anything on the collective? We were talking on the previous show and a couple yesterday, and some of the stuff I've been picking up from people in the field, Morgan, and just experiences of disentanglement, like the effect in the human moment by moment existence, where you just like take all the multi-dimensional out of it, and what does that mean to the human? How does that feel? And these resetting of relationships and connections, and uh, different standard MOs that we've had that are being destroyed.
Yes. Yes, actually, as much as I've been in solitude, I realized my energy was still spread all over, and just last Sunday, I was just guided to, like, get into a state and, like, literally pull my energy from everything I've ever done.
Yeah,
And not in a like, but just to, like, let everything go. Like, whether it was a business or a relationship, just any creation I've ever created, to just kind of pull my energy in. Um, and it was just, I don't know, it felt good. And then when that happened, I just saw like all of this light, like this white for just a release of all of that, but not an emptiness. Do you know what I mean? It was a
yeah,
let go, but there was still the love was there.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I got
Judith, yeah, Judith on the previous show was talking in that regard too, and she said something to the effect like some of the souls, it's not even just this lifetime, or a few past lifetimes. It's a whole bunch of them where that same thing applies. And the funny thing is, 2 or 3 days ago, I was kind of in that space where I was taking, my soul fragments back, which is a routine I've been doing for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Not as much as I used to, because I struggle now to find now that I've worked on so many. I'm sure there's still a bunch I don't know about, but it took me into that multidimensional part. It took me into, other incarnations, maybe even other universes. I don't know,
Right.
but I could see where things were coming into equilibrium. I didn't see a white light, but I saw, like, I could feel, like, where, just being aware of it, just asking for equality in that situation, or balance,
Right.
0 point, that just by virtue of the awareness and the conscious intention that it was occurring.
Yeah. I love that. I
Well,
oh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I don't know what I was gonna say.
Well, I was just going to say it's such a it's so one of the well, there's so many differences now, but one of the differences being it's so quantum. Like the old rules don't apply. You can actually um, you can actually do what you got to do from, just from right here, from the heart. You don't have to physically be in front of somebody. You don't have to, you know what I mean? They don't even have to be incarnated. I mean, you can actually do the work with, I guess we have more confidence now or something, but certainly more force.
Yes. That's one of my favorite ways to work. I always like it's for years, that's like really how I've learned to create things, right? I used to just try to push, or I would think that I had to do things
Yeah.
linearly, or like get this vision and then like, oh my gosh, I got to start putting it into action in the physical world. And when I started to learn how to work with energy and light and creation energy, like I love that part because you just get into that space and work with it. And then you kind of go about your day and it's all done and it just starts to manifest in the physical, or you start to feel it right away. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, now it's like even stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting how when you get something that comes in, like, say in my case, I can go back and look at stuff that comes up on memories I wrote 5, 6, 7 years ago, and you look at it, and even stuff in the present moment, and you get something in. You might write about it or whatever, but the point is, it takes a little while for it all to align and integrate, and for the human to come around. You know, I mean, just because we get it, I guess is what I'm saying. We don't have it. We
Yeah.
actually have to, experience it, and that takes a choice. You know, we get faced with things, and you say, "Oh, we can't do that because," or "We need to do that because," and and you get stuck there back and forth. But the truth is, if it's new and it's kind of intuitive and in your gut, got to go for it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I definitely like to keep growing, so that's what I'm here for.
Are you still seeing? I mean, through this period of isolation, were you still working with clients?
I am actually. I'm just doing one-on-ones
Yeah,
and um been yeah, my sessions are just pretty whatever anybody needs, intuitive, connecting. I just am a firm believer whatever their soul needs, they're gonna know, you
yeah,
know. I don't even really advertise much. Like every now and again, I'll put something out just so people know I'm actually working, like you said, because I've been kind of MIA. And just really, I know that if they're supposed to work with me, they'll find me. And that's just kind of how I do
Have
it.
you noticed? Have you noticed? Anything substantial as far as change or whatever growth in your clients? Because I mean, since 12/12, I think everybody can pretty much agree that since 12/12, not that it wasn't intense before that, but
Mm.
this thing really started to. It seems like it originated, or at least had a big threshold crossed 12/12, and then of course you had the solstice, and then all the power numbers, 1/1 and 1/11, and all the twos and the ones, and then everything with January and February. But have you seen anything like? Are you sensitive to anything, or aware of anything that's kind of a collective trajectory, anything like that?
I'm noticing, well, the emotion part of it, that, you know, getting to those neutral spaces and people um, neutralizing those memories or those emotions, um, as they're actually having that higher space to do that, they're able to shift a lot quicker. Like maybe things that had been um, there in their bodies or in their memories for years and years, they're just able to, you know, let it go. Um,
Yeah.
and so with that, I've seen people um, that just really quickly are becoming like unstuck, I guess that's the word that came to my mind. Like maybe areas where they struggled to move for a long time, all of a sudden they're able to just like leap forward. Um,
Yeah.
that to me, when I look at it, it's like energetically like places where it's almost like being sticky in tar, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're free and you can fly.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw this as over the last week, say a week ago, was because we've connected. I've connected before Morgan came, and since we've been together, we've connected with a lot of people um, that we met online, basically.
Hmm.
And so that's a pretty interesting additional frequencies involved in terms of just what we're experiencing. But one of the things that I saw a few days ago was how, well, I guess it was a message to me. It was kind of like, look, don't get caught up in the stories. Soul coordinates are coming together in the physical and even the non-physical, like something like this, but they're coming together, and the importance is not the stories that
Yes.
tell the story. It's just to live with and understand and know that it's enough, that they came together for a reason. And you can spend all the time you want trying to figure it out, or getting lost in the stories, and you don't need to do that. It's not necessary.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. It like what I've been working on even myself with kind of going, you know, processing my life up to this point, and like you said, being alone and kind of looking at different things. It's like looking at that eagle eye view, like the higher view, and people are in their stories or they're still in the 340 or whatever. And it's like there's this different view of it, and being able to see like the Matrix. I don't know, it's like being out of it, it's like you can literally see it like the movie The Matrix. Like it's
Yeah,
not real. It's not even like they don't realize they're kind of almost in this loop, right? I don't know.
yeah,
That's coming to me. It's just become, I knew that, but it's just become more clear in the sense that I'm able to emotionally um what's the word? Like not be triggered by it and see
yeah,
it what it is.
yeah, yeah. And I was telling Judith on the show before that some of this feels like it's on automatic pilot now. Like I don't. I'm not saying that I'm not conscious and self introspective, but certain things, when the mind's quiet, and it's becoming more of a natural thing, that you don't have to go make anything happen. And yes, you do, but I mean, you don't have to make anything happen. It kind of happens to you, like almost like we're matching the natural frequency, or matching the 0 point. And as a result of that, the manifestation thing takes on a whole new type of math or language. You don't have to like structure stuff. It just comes to you. It's weird.
Yes,
It's,
that's exactly how I got to Florida.
is it
Just
really?
yeah, like it was just like certain things. Like I was in an apartment and I had to leave, and I was staying with a friend, and I was like just Syracuse was dark and cold and dreary, and I just felt like I needed to move, and I made a phone call, and within like a half hour I had this place to stay, and within less than a week I drove down here. But it was like energy was like if I was sitting in clouds and all of a sudden the sun was like beaming down on me, like, do this, 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 like, and it took just minutes to make it happen. But it
Wow.
just, it felt like it was in alignment, you know, like you said, it just came to me. And it was easy and effortless. And then I was like, well, that's definitely where I'm supposed to be right now.
I would imagine that everybody back home, not everybody, but let's just say those folks that don't run in these circles openly or whatever, probably wondering what the heck is she doing now. But
1000%.
1000%, right? Yeah. Yeah. What the heck is she doing now? But do you feel like that the noise that comes that we've all experienced is just kind of like water on a duck's back? I mean, just kind of just flows off.
Yes, it's kind of funny. With those moves, I found, like, from when I left back in May, like maybe the second or third move, it was like those voices, all that was gone. Like I forgot it even existed, 'cause you're just, yeah. And it's like I'm learning, through this time, it's like learning who Danielle is for the first time ever, without the programming, without the
Yeah.
conditioning, even though I had been coming out of a lot of it, but to just truly be alone within yourself and like, okay, what is life like now?
Yeah.
And I get to totally and completely decide and create that for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the energy or the way it feels right now. It's like, how do I be a partner now? And how do I do Soulogy now? How do I be a friend? And how do I be a relative? And, how do I be a business, collaborator? Like
Right.
everything's just changed. I mean, it's strange because it feels so easy. It's like almost like stepping on a frozen lake. Not that I grew up in Syracuse, but I mean, and I have never done that, by the way. So I would, even if I was in Syracuse and it was 50 below zero, I would be stepping on that ice pond, thinking that something's going to crack or waiting for something to crack, but it's not. It's not happening.
No. Yep. I
It's
have
almost.
walked on a frozen lake before,
Go
but
ahead.
I just said I have walked on a frozen lake before and it didn't crack.
No, I stayed up in New Jersey with some friends of mine. They lived on I guess it was a lake. Yeah. And it did get really cold and it did freeze. I didn't get out there though,
Yeah.
but it freezed. And the crazy thing was the noise that the ice makes. Like it sounds like monsters. Have you ever heard that?
I have.
Maybe it was just in that cove, but it would make these crazy noises. I mean, all night long, like creaking and just weird, eerie noises.
Maybe I've never slept near it, so and it was mostly when I was a kid going out there.
So have you been picking up on okay? So one of the things, and I remember from talking to you before, I have a feeling there's a little bit of a galactic thing going, but
Mhm.
um, I've noticed that, and of course, it's happened, and it comes and goes, like different consciousnesses or different energies or different feelings come through sensitivities, like say elemental or a dragon, but
Mhm.
the galactic thing, the star family thing, over the last few days has been like really, really profound. It's like it's almost like there's just all the troops are here. I can't really put my finger on it, other than I'd like to get clear communication, and I've been having that discussion. What's it been like for you?
Well, interesting because I saw your show with Valerie. I think that was earlier this week. I don't know. The days like all
I
go
don't even know. I can't remember people's names. I
Valerie
really.
Foster.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
I actually connected with her yesterday. Um, and we were talking, and definitely some like new Andromedan energy is coming in. Um,
Okay.
so I'm starting to work with that or
Yeah,
learning about that.
that doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's one of those like you. I mean, they get, you can always tell. I don't speak the same language, but I can get that, like Morgan's, some of these women, they have this thing where you just know the information they have. It's legit. Like you can feel it, like as you're exposed to it. But
Yep.
Valerie's like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like I just keep seeing, I see, like last night, the room, I was saying on the earlier show, it's pitch dark, the windows are blacked out, but I could see, not only could I see almost like the light was on, but I could also see like tall columns, they're more like rectangles of of a white light beings, and there was a shitload of them. And then I'm seeing a lot of blue and a lot of gold, and I don't know what that means.
The white ones you said that are like pillars, I've
Hmm.
seen. Have you ever heard of the Hathors?
Yes, yeah,
That's how they first came to me back, like, in 2011. I saw them as these, like, wispy pillars of light, almost, like, translucent.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. That popped in my head when you said that.
It could be because, and I wanted to ask Judith on the last show, but I just couldn't. You know, I was trying to keep my composure the whole time because I felt like I was going to explode. It's so many downloads, but that makes a little sense to me. I had a experience with Hathors in Lionsgate 2016. That was really like the first, and I think probably the only time I saw them. They were actually quite funny, but it kind of resonates because what I was referring to about, you know, what I wanted to mention to her was the Egypt thing. Like in the last, you know, day or two has been in my face, in my face, in my face, and I'm talking that I don't ever get this, like Isis, Osiris, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I get,
There's definitely a lot, well, a lot of the work I've been doing, and it does definitely feels connected with that masculine, feminine
hmm,
balance, um, just within our own beings and then on the planet so much. Like, I don't know, that just
yeah.
when I think of the Hathors, they carry that energy, and Andromeda too.
It's funny. So Pamela, she's coming on at 4:30 spontaneously, which is really cool. I'll just tell you the backstory on that. I woke up. We had that thing last night, and then I woke up. Morgan wasn't up. I sit on the couch. I feel like I'm going to cry, and then I don't know. I don't even know what I was doing, but I just knew I had to message Pamela Johnson, and I don't really message too many people. I just was like, I got to tell you what's happening. I didn't know that Morgan had hit her up 2 or 3 days ago to see if she wanted to come on the show. She's like, "Oh, I was just about to message you and Morgan." Um, and now she's coming on today. So that should be really powerful. It's a powerful day with you on and Judith and her, and maybe Franco. He doesn't know yet, but she just put up a comment. Hathors in my garden dancing, and when they came on that Lionsgate in 2016 on August the 8th, they came in dancing, and then they actually, because there was a bunch of different essences that were in the studio, like it was a almost like a gathering, you know, like Merlin and just different essences. And I'd never seen them before. And they came in dancing, and that's back in the day when I was in the studio and I, you know, do some soul speaking, and maybe I did some dancing and that type of stuff. And that's what they were doing. They were dancing. It's like she was talking about. They're dancing in her garden. And
So,
yeah,
sorry.
hmm,
You were talking and you were saying you saw that vision, for your Soulogy Fest, and you saw the, what was it, like the Merlins? I'm seeing, like, there's
hmm,
crystals of all different types of beings.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
that's
kind of like yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that you just said that to me.
so I like, they're coming into, like, yeah, they're, well, it's like different ones from different places, like, everybody's gathering.
Yeah, Sedona is like that. Sedona is like a multi-dimensional. You ever see those spaghetti bowls like in Chicago or New York or Houston, where they got all the freeways in the city that all come together at one place and it's just like a big bunch
Yes.
of spirals? That's what Sedona reminds me of. It's like a galactic, angelic, elemental, earth, inner earth, any and all universal and off universal species coming in.
I think I
Yeah.
need to come there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really powerful. In fact, we were told last night in that channeling, we were told that this will be a lot like the last trip we made there, which was huge. It was
Nice.
absolutely huge. One thing I'm learning about these trips, I don't know how about you, how you're feeling about it, but you know, like I told Morgan the other day, the next time we go on a trip, we need 7 days, 7 days just in solitude, just to integrate. Because when you're traveling around, whether you're conscious of it or not, or whatever, you know, people call it grid work, but there's just there's a reason that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's,
I don't even watch the news, but where I am is about 10, 15 minutes away from Mar-a-Lago. So,
Oh, is it really?
yep. So
Wow.
sometimes when I do get called down here, I figure I must be,
Wow. I had never thought about that.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, so much of what we buy into or have bought into is what the mainstream media tells us that they want us to, well, you know what I mean, or it's our mind taking that information and then going down a certain storyline with it. But
Mhm.
still, energy is energy, and I would imagine that that's a very, very powerful place right now.
Yeah.
Just that whole area.
Yeah. There was every time I was leaving, I would be fine. And then when I would get in the car, I would just start crying, like really intense crying. Um, and then like part of it I knew was what I was going through. But the other day, like I went to go just get my car washed and I was driving around and it started happening. And I realized even though like the sun is shining, like you say, like there is just that, it just felt like a sadness.
Really.
Yeah.
See, Morgan was telling me, we were talking last night, and one of the things she was telling me was how back in the day, and I guess this would have been back, 15 years ago, maybe even more, after she was woken up, and she started remembering different traumas
Mhm.
and how when it would come to the surface, it would, there's nothing stopping it. Like
Mm.
she was in a market, she walks in I think it was a bookstore. She starts to look for a book and she felt it come in. She's driving home and she's screaming and the whole process of it coming out
Yeah.
somatically.
Yeah.
But so like when it happened, like when this is happening to you, do you feel like is it something on a personal level? Or are you feeling the collective
It's
what's
been
happening?
it's definitely been both. And
Oh,
there yeah, I've experienced both. So some of them were definitely, yeah, it's like this last, I'll say this, how I said earlier on, like I had been in like a pretty safe space and I had done a ton of processing, but getting catapulted out of that situation, I immediately got everything mirrored to me that I hadn't looked at. I thought
mm,
I had because it wasn't being triggered. But pretty much it feels like anyway, like everything that I hadn't looked at this life, probably every life I've had on earth got triggered.
yeah,
I've been, yeah, it's even feels like yes, this life, but other lives, DNA,
yeah.
collective, and yeah, it the February was one of the most intense months I think I've ever had in my life as far as that goes.
Well, being 28 days,
Yeah.
to me, it was like it's February 1st. Which I was kind of happy because I'm like, I'm done with January. It's February 1st. The next thing I know, it's March 1st.
Mhm.
But in between, yeah, there was a lot going on, no doubt. Of course,
Yeah,
we were down in Texas. We got caught up in that
yeah.
winter storm, and so that But one thing I will say, I mentioned it when I talked about it, but everywhere I looked, I saw alignment and not like making it up, stuff like that. It was literally everything I saw was in alignment with the whole. Whether it be the storm or having no water for 4 days or being in that type of situation in a hotel room with Morgan for 4 days or just all these things. My uncle transitioned. My family, I got to see a lot of family members I hadn't seen in 3 or 6 or 8 or 10 years. There was all this alignment, and it would lasted. I want to say lasted about a week and a half. To me, that was a great sign.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm really interested to see where things go and how they unfold with all the things that we've all been doing, right? Getting to the space. It just feels like preparing. I don't know, I keep kind of seeing like March and April and then like in May, like just so
Yeah,
much of that leadership, like
yeah,
I can get that sense that there's going to be so much more clarity on where we're headed and what we're doing.
yeah, yeah. I've heard quite a few people, including my my bride say May. And then, of course, Soulogy Fest 28th through the 30th. And Jackie Atwell, is there going to be hotel access for your May gathering? I'm not really quite sure what that means, but well, yeah, I'll have to come back to that. I'm not really sure I understood that. I just happened to see that when I said that. But since 2009, so this was 2 years before I officially woke up. That period, that last week of May, has been the biggest of each year. And in the early years, it was kind of like on the descent. And then after 2014, it became an ascending trajectory. So to me, for me personally, that feels right. Like I feel what you're saying. Like I don't want to say it's a whole new world, but I think for me, it's more like there's more and more people acknowledging the mirrors in what they're who they're experiencing life with, but not in the triggering way, more in the divine way. Not that triggering's not divine, but I mean like going, oh my God,
Yeah.
he can do this or she can do that, or he experiences this or she experiences that, or it's just unconscious and an etherical type of connection or revelation. But yeah, I feel that. And I remember last year, and it's because it's funny how this stuff all happens. Like if you go back a year ago, it was the same energy a year ago. It was just softer. And then the year before and the year before. But I remember Franco saying last year that after May, things would change dramatically, which they did.
Yep.
So this is probably the same pattern.
Yeah, that makes sense. I said I left in May. That was when my shift really started.
Yeah.
And what you just said about, like not having those triggers, that's why I dove in. Because I'm like, that's exactly, I want to be in that space where I am just ready to share love and be present and connect, as much as possible.
Have you had any thing as far as your body goes, like physically? Have you had any noticeable changes or anything that would lend to the transformation carbon to crystal?
Definitely like lost weight without trying. Felt like there's moments usually when I go through a processing and then I come out the other side, I definitely feel lighter and look younger.
I need some of that. Can you give me that technique?
Hey, intend it. I don't.
No, you're right. You're right about that.
I think years ago, if this will help you, what was my I don't know, it triggered a good thing in me was like watching oh my gosh, Lord of the Rings, and how the fairies, they're like thousands of years old, but they look like they're in their 20s. I was like, if we're gonna live that long, we might as well look young, right?
I'm looking for it. I see kind of the aging process slow down.
Yes.
Some things reversing and rejuvenating, but not in a highly evidentiary way, but it's what I'm doing, what I've been doing. I started small, is taking specific parts of my body where I know there's an obvious physical area, something's off, like a tooth cracked or some, was one of the examples, and actually working with that energy to transform the physical. Now I know that sounds far out. I mean, maybe not in this crowd.
No.
But it actually, when I started doing this, I wasn't at the belief system or the level of belief that I am now. To me, that's really where the rubber meets the road. If I can get to a point where I 100%, 1000% believe, then it will happen.
Right.
It has to.
One of the things I've been doing, actually, I just did it this week, is I was taking pictures of myself, right? Or like different areas, and then I would like literally work on it energetically. Like anywhere I saw distortion or felt distortion about myself, or it wasn't where I wanted it to be, I just worked with it. And literally, I'm not joking, the next day the pictures looked different and my body looked different. So
Wow.
I like just working with like those layers of energy because, well, some things, it's just, I've felt like energy that how, I don't know about everybody else, but when I was a teenager, man, I like was so critical of every little thing that was happening with my body. And it's like energetically, sometimes those things are still deep in there, even
Yeah.
though I don't feel the same way now. So that's one of the things that I've been doing. Like just clearing those old distortions energetically,
Yeah.
old beliefs, even things I don't believe anymore now, but the things I did to myself when I was 15. So
Yeah.
it's like rewriting it, so to speak. Um, but I found, yeah, that um, that's one of the things I think the biggest part, right, is our beliefs, right, about aging. And
Yeah.
um,
Exactly. It's all that. It's all that.
yep,
Consciousness is perception, right?
yes,
So, so, but yeah, I think I think probably the biggest thing for me too. I mean, how do you explain this stuff? Because everything is multifaceted, but so a big part of it too. Like I look at videos and I'm not vain. I mean, I'm not like wrapped up in, in that, but I look at my, my hair's black, you know, and of course I just see it. Like I guess like any of us, if we look at ourselves, we see a lot more than other people see, right?
mhm,
But there's that point of where you just let go. You just go, you know what? Big deal. Who cares? Who cares? And then things start happening. It
right.
always looks that way. For me, it does.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about it just embracing the process and
Mhm.
yeah, like enjoying where you are,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Mhm.
No, it does make sense. There's that meme that goes around says you cannot. What is it? You cannot be happy where you're going if you're not. You have to first be happy where you are.
Right.
And I know that sounds like hippie-ish and all that, but it's true. Yeah, because it is. I mean, it really is. Just like you were talking about that programming when you were a teenager and you didn't, you're that negative self-talk about the way you look and you're just not happy with it. And then, that stuff's real.
Oh yeah. It definitely like it was just weird like thinking about it now. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I used to like obsess about it like
Mhm.
every day, you know?" Just those puberty age, where everything's
Well,
changing.
this is the new puberty. Somebody
Right?
said that it is. It's the new puberty. It's like we're actually in energetic puberty.
Isn't that
The other thing that's kind of cool too, especially for someone like yourself who works with a lot of people, you would know this, and plus the work you do in yourself, uh, the unwrapping of the conditioning and the behavioral patterns and all that stuff took a while. Like you know what I mean? But the other side of it is like you said, when you get on the other side of it, the product of that, uh, it moves really fast, right?
yes.
I mean, it really does. Like our ability to learn and process and become better manifestors and everything, just like you, it's almost like you've got, like a wind behind your back.
Mhm. When you were saying that, it felt like unwrapping a mummy, but there's really a, like,
Yeah,
younger, newer, healthier person underneath.
that's exactly right.
Mhm.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. That's a great metaphor. Fantastic. So you're doing work online, obviously,
Yeah,
because you
yep.
just. So why don't you let us know before we get out of here? How we can get in touch with you and what you have coming up. I think you said you were just doing one-on-ones right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, like what type of well, I guess yours is kind of a
Yeah,
custom type of session. Whatever comes.
yeah. It's intuitive and really, yeah. There's usually some activation and, like, guidance, but I'm holding the space and it's coming through them, I'm helping out, guiding with the intuitive part. Um, so yeah.
Did
And
you do you do light language? I'm just curious.
well, it's interesting when I don't do light language like like say Valerie, but like when I do my activations, it comes through as like I see it as a light, and then they're in the light energy. So I guess it's that type of form of light
Yeah.
language. I'm speaking English, but I'm channeling in the light. Yes.
Far out.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
can't wait till we can start seeing some of these things as, our vision, moves beyond the visible light spectrum. Because
Yeah.
what you're seeing is there, right?
Right. Yes.
And I've had some instances where, I've seen, like Morgan and we've seen the same thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. And I've had it happen with maybe a handful of other times over the years. But yeah,
Yes.
that's going to be a whole new world.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've worked with people and groups, and like they definitely, like even people who haven't had these types of experiences, they're like, whoa, I really saw it. I really felt it, you know? So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So, and if somebody wants to book a session with you, what do they do? Like,
Um,
contact you on Facebook, or do you have
yeah,
a
book. I have a website, is Harmonious Heart Living. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
Harmonious Heart Living, spelled normally, right?
Yes.
HarmoniousHeartLiving.com.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Boom. Everybody's got it now on all the platforms. There we go. It's good seeing you.
You too. I appreciate you.
Mhm. I hope to see you in May 28th, 29th, 30th. Oh, and back to Jackie's question. Yes, it's actually in West Sedona, on the outskirts of West Sedona. And I can't remember any more of the GPS type information right now. But yeah, it's near all the hotels in West Sedona, and we're working on some possibilities for people to be able to spend less, because the way we're going to do it, we're not going to. It's just going to be a ticket for the festival, no hotel. But we are working with some people on getting some really discounted rates for people to have choices. So thank you for let me plug that in there.
Of course. I
I'll
hope
I'll
you
see you
too.
later. How far from the coast are you? I mean, how far from the beach are you?
About 10-minute drive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
you enjoy yourself and take care of yourself. And thank you for everything that you're doing. And thank you for coming on.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.